This is the Fat Health Teacher. I'm actually having to record this video again because my child pressed the mute button and I didn't catch it. It's probably a good thing because the last video was a little bit, I don't even know how to explain it. But the topic of this video is Father's Day. The topic of this video is also going to address some of the reasons that I choose not to do the big, showy, flashy, very public reactions to the varying holidays, right? You'll see some people who gush over their partner. You'll see other people who like post these big "Thank you, Father." I'm not going to say that those people don't actually have those feelings, but what I'm going to say is that it's more important to actually tell that person rather than just posting it on Facebook for the world to see. Um, so I don't know, some of you may be aware, but I was raised in the LDS Church, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And one of the things that I kind of took away from it is when you're doing things, it's not to prove to the world how genuine you are, right? So if you're praying, you do it in private. You're not out in public doing it, because if you do it out in public, it's not for you and for whoever you're praying to, it's for other people to see. I also grew up on the Navajo Reservation, and one of the things that they talked about, if you have ever read a book called Sing Down the Moon by Scott Odell, one of the takeaways from there was that you don't celebrate things in a flashy way. You don't make a really big deal out of things. And this is something that I've internalized, and it's not necessarily because of that book, but it kind of explained to me, or rather I identified with it. Because there's kind of this fear that if you make a really big deal out of things, that they'll get taken away from you, right? And so most of the time, when good things happen, I probably will not make a big deal out of it. And it has nothing to do with whether or not I appreciate what's happened. It has more to do with my fear that that exuberant reaction could cause things to go away, or could cause things to end up developing into a negative thing. So anyway, when I get notifications that it's so-and-so's birthday, or that it's Father's Day, or Mother's Day, or Christmas, or Valentine's Day, or things like that, you're typically not going to see me post anything more than maybe a couple of text lines on my page. I typically don't tag people, simply because I don't have all the details about all of you, right? Some of you, we only know each other on Facebook, and that's not a terrible thing. It's just I don't want to be disingenuous, okay? And I don't want to leave people out, because when you leave people out, then the people who get left out could be hurt, right? I've seen friends post things about like my best sister or whatever, that kind of thing, and then they tag all of the people that they consider sisters, and sometimes I'm not in the tag, and then I start thinking, I thought we were closer than that. And I don't want to do that to other people, so I'm not going to do it. And I don't want to tag everyone, because then that just means it's a public post, right? So let me give you a little bit of history on Father's Day, and then I am going to kind of talk about my take on it. Father's Day has not been an easy thing for me for a variety of reasons, and I will share some of those with you. Anyway, so the history, I just did a quick, Wikipedia search, and here's what I came up with. So Father's Day was first celebrated in the Middle Ages by the Catholic Church, which is wow. It was first celebrated in the U.S. on July 5th in 1908, but it didn't become widely adopted until 1966, and this was due in part actually rather, due primarily to businesses that wanted to commercialize it and they wanted to coordinate the commercialization, right? So they wanted to all make sure that they were agreeing on when it was going to be celebrated and things along those lines. And it did not become like a permanent, nationally recognized thing until 1972. And this was due to Nixon. Mother's Day, on the other hand, was not celebrated, has not been celebrated since the Middle Ages. Um, at least not by the Catholic Church. I am sure that there are other religions who have some variant of the Mother's Day. Anyway, according to Wikipedia, it was first celebrated in 1908. And in 1914, a proclamation was issued by Woodrow Wilson declaring it a specific day in May for national celebration. Okay, so as I said, Father's Day is a very conflicted thing for me. The relationship I have with my father was very on and off again. It is currently on, but it isn't always the most comfortable thing. And I think it's something that both of us are working on in order to try to maintain that relationship, which is good. I'm not going to complain about it. The other thing is that I have seen a lot of people who don't have good relationships with their fathers. Their fathers may have been abusers. Their fathers may have left when they were young. Fathers refusing to participate, or fathers who just are all about control. It's kind of a tough thing. And I don't begrudge you having a great relationship with your father, if you do. But I also worry that things like this, celebrations like this, kind of remind the people who don't have that type of positive relationship with their fathers what they're missing. It is kind of a reminder for the people who are parenting on their own that they don't have that other figure in their lives in order to parent their child. And so it can be difficult for these people, and I don't want to make that difficulty worse. Okay? I have a friend who has stepped up and taken on a father role even though he had no reason to. And some of you have done this. Some of you are single moms. You haven't, you have, for whatever reason, not brought another person into your relationships, which is totally okay. When you've got children, you got to be careful. And, you know, you're doing everything. You, the mom, you're doing everything. Sometimes it's the grandparents who are doing everything, or the cousins, or the aunts, or the uncles, or maybe it's a foster system, or an adoptive family, that kind of stuff. You deserve to be recognized as well for giving that unconditional love, for allowing a kid to make mistakes and not, you know, thrashing them for it. You are appreciated, and it's not just the fathers. All right. So if you have a father figure in your life that you love and appreciate, do it. Celebrate them. Have a great time. And if you don't, that's okay too. All right. Celebrate what you've got. Love who you have. And that's it. This is the Fat Health Teacher signing out, and I will see you all probably tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.